this going live out and about is actually quite interesting, guys. Sorry, my audio is going to be completely off today, just like my last live stream. Do let me know, is it bearable though? Also, I am on a main road here, so you may hear cars going up and down. I'm outside an airport. But yeah, I will be going live on Spaces in a couple of hours with VCNC, so Chris and a few of the other guys. I think Mark might even be there. I know some of you guys love to see Mark, so Mark might be joining us on that Spaces call. But yeah, it's been a mad one, hasn't it? I didn't see that coming. IGX4, it's Nvidia's partnership with Joby Aviation for IGX4. Do you know what? Is this Joby cranking it up now? They've seen E-Hanger pushing out for autonomy. We always knew autonomy was going to be the case, but look, partnering up with Nvidia is no small feat. I honestly believe that this Nvidia could reshape the whole industry. And why I wanted to come on live, I've seen a lot of people comparing it to Archer Palantir. We're going to explain that a little bit because it's completely different. Joby NVIDIA is completely different to Archer Palantir. So let me get that straight fast fall. But I'm going to let it build up. There's 24 of you in with me at the moment. We'll let it build up before we start breaking down the difference between Joby NVIDIA and Archer Palantir. I have been doing a bit of deep diving around Palantir and what Palantir actually do. It's taken me, 2 years to actually try and get down to the nuts and bolts. I'll be honest with you, I still can't wholeheartedly tell you what Palantir's all about, but I have a good understanding now on why it is different to the NVIDIA partnership. So, who have we got? Evan, go Joby to 2350 minimum. Do you know what? With Nvidia stepping up the code, I haven't actually looked at the markets that much today. I don't have it on my phone, so do let me know how Archer and Joby are doing at the moment. Again, guys, as we're letting you build up, I'll tell you why I deleted the investing app off my phone. So the other hustle brother, Reese, actually was speaking to me and he said it only makes you too emotional when you're constantly monitoring what the stocks are doing. I think you need to know what you buy, know what you own, and don't make decisions in a heartbeat like that. So always sit down and analyze. Anthony, I'm with the 5 trillion. Do you know what? Have they crossed the 5 trillion yet, Nvidia? They were very close last time I looked. Dylan, hey, Dylan's over on X and he's in YouTube. Big shout on my guy. Archer's at 1127, Joby's at 1647. Again, as we said the last day, it won't be long before Joby crosses that 20 mark again. We said Archer, if they have a great earnings call, I'm not expecting it to be great, but if we get a few surprises there, we could push for a 20 towards the end of the year. 5 trillion today, big shout out. Anthony, thank you for letting me know. So Nvidia has crossed 5 trillion. Do you know what? I'm gutted about Nvidia. I remember when it was 284 there. Before the split, it must have been, is it 3 years ago at this stage? And I remember me and Race were looking at it and we're like, oh, that's way too overvalued. So that shows you what we know. They got to 5.1 trillion around 10 a.m. That's insane. What is their price then at the moment? Nvidia just keeps growing. But yeah, 32 you here. Right, we're going to explain the difference between Joby's partnership with Nvidia for the IGX4 chips and their Blackwell chips, and then Archer Aviation and their Palantir partnership. So what it comes down to is what Nvidia and Palantir actually do. So if we think of it as Palantir is the likes of the chessboard, or they're able to spot the data, they have the tools to be able to spot patterns recognition in data, and Nvidia make the chess pieces. Nvidia is the one that actually brings it all together. It's the computing power. If we call it Palantir is the vehicle, Nvidia is the engine. The fact that Joby are now using. They're the only aerospace company to be using these IGX4 chips. They'll be able to get real-time computing. It's really going to be the brain inside the cockpit. Compared to what Palantir are doing for Archer, is they're helping with manufacturing processes, most of all, with the logistics, the likes of being able to speed up and make it more efficient, the process of getting the midnight out. And then also they're helping with the air traffic control problems. So they're not actually able to leverage on, I don't know, fully autonomous flight. What Archer are using for fully autonomous flight is SkyGrid, and that's what Wisk use. And that has all came down from Boeing. Now, it's not bearish on Archer, because Archer are basically using proven software from Boeing. Now, the only problem is, and it's what I said on the live stream 2 days ago, I think fully autonomous flight is okay in the aerospace sector for the actual horizontal flight. It's been done for years. So to actually put it on the smaller scale, yes, it's going to be in cities, but on a smaller scale, the likes of Boeing's fully autonomous software, like your autopilot, is sufficient. The problem is vertical takeoff and landing in a public space. Now, with these new NVIDIA chips, it's real-time data, split-second computing. So these will be flying alongside the Joby pilots when we get certified. The chips will, with AI learning, it'll be constantly learning from the pilots. It'll be able to pull data, any data Joby has, and we'll be able to analyze it in a split second, be able to adapt the fully autonomous software. Now, my thing is never, ever bet against NVIDIA. And the thing is, we have one tried and tested method. We have the Boeing, the Wisk, with Archer. But if you want next generation fully autonomous flight, who is going to bet against NVIDIA? So I think Joby have snatched up a mega deal. Now, another thing is people are saying there was a partnership between Palantir and Nvdia yesterday, which again is true. However, that's not for fully autonomous flight. It has nothing to do with fully autonomous flight. This IGX 4 chip is only going to be licensed to Joby at the start anyway. Palantir will not now be able to use this to then create fully autonomous software for Archer Aviation. And that's not the relationship between Palantir and Archer Aviation anyway. So don't get it twisted. Palantir and Archer Aviation, massive, massive partnership. But this is not what the partnership's about. It's not about autonomous flight. Now, let me jump back into the chat. Dylan says, wanted to say on Archer, we keep talking about them mentioning a redesign. When I think about it, that's what they did on the last quarter earnings call. A bit off topic, but I would think 3 months already. So you think they're already in redesign phase? If they are in redesign phase, and if we pull it back to what I said, 9 months, we could be, 3 months into it, and you'd be pushing out for the next 6 months. Also, guys, did you see Vertical Aerospace reckons the all systems go for a full transition with a pilot on board by December. So before the end of the year, by December, they're looking for a full transition. It would scare me if Vertical Aerospace can do it for Archer. But look, it is what it is. Scout Vest says, I thought the Archer Tesla would be more comparable. That didn't happen though. Archer Tesla would be a lot more comparable. So a full self-driving. What is it Tesla used? They did use NVIDIA. They now use their own. Someone jump into the chat and let me know what Tesla now use to enable their full self-driving. They were using NVIDIA. Elon Musk said he would buy more NVIDIA chips, but it's just they can't pump them out fast enough. It will come back to me what they use. Dylan says, any details on the cost Joby pay for the GPUs or how many they're getting? That's undisclosed at the moment. I've been diving around everywhere trying to look for costs of it. Look, guys, partnership, but it won't be free. They will be paying for them. But look, Joby does have a war chest when it comes to capital. They only raised not that long ago. 4 is also going in ore, but that is automotive. I didn't see that, but that is impressive. Will you send me a link to that on X, Scott? The GOT Games, I'm very happy for Joby. Hope they do well. I sold out because of how their investors act on X. I'm only in Archer and Hover. GOAT, I think me and you, it's like me and you versus the crowd on X sometimes, isn't it? I'm telling you, the Joby investors really don't like me, even though I am a Joby investor. I don't know how many times I say it. I'm invested in Joby. I'm slightly higher on Archer now, but for a long, long time, any of you guys that have been to many of these lives know I was pushing Joby so much harder than Archer for a good 9 months or so. So GOAT, big shout out. Also, everyone, jump across, follow the GOAT Gains on X. He had crossed 400 followers. There was it last week, 2 weeks ago. So do help our friend out. Big investor in Archer and Harvard. Harvard's another one, guys. Everyone keeps asking me to cover Harvard. Look, it is what it is. I will cover Harvard when I get enough information out about them. I don't want to make pointless videos about Harvard when there's not much news. Yes, I can say there's conferences going on. With no disrespect to Harvard, at this stage, they're just going out and they're making themselves known. They're telling their story again and again. So the conferences do sound very, very similar. So I don't just want to keep running the same stuff over and over. Now, one thing that I'm really bullish on Harvard, and I think they really need to push this first of all, is going into that Medivac space. So in that Medivac space, it's about a 22 billion industry at the moment worldwide. But analysts believe it could more or less double by next year. Brandon Robinson, CEO, anyone that doesn't know, Brandon Robinson, CEO, says that helicopters at the moment, 65% of them are only used for point-to-point transport. These Cavorite X7 are faster, cheaper, more efficient, and safer. I think they need to push into that Medivac. I think the only problem with some Horizon investors, they're trying to run before they can walk. And it's all good and well saying, we're going to do Medivac, we're going to do cargo, we're going to do passenger flights, we're going to do regional flights, we're going to do military. But at the end of the day, we need to think about it. They've what? Less than 12 million in the bank now. Joby and Archer could come out and say they're going doing this, that, and the other, and no one would swallow it. So what makes Horizon any different? At this stage, they need to raise a focus on one industry, get in there. Look, there's no point, or there's no problem going out having feelers. If they can get substantial contracts in place, yes, but I think they need to raise a focus on a certain sector. And I think the likes of Medivac, the likes of military could be their way out at the moment. But I just don't want them to... sometimes it's a bit like investing. If you diversify massively very early on when you have hardly any capital, you'll go nowhere fast. Whereas what I like to do on the Hustle Brothers, and this is not financial advice, but I've said it from the start, when you've a small account, and this is the only way I've made my money, when you've a small account, I think you need to raise the focus in and be very saturated in stocks you believe in. Let them run up, and then you can roll out and diversify. Look, complete different mindset than you'll hear most people speak about. But again, that's the most amount of risk I'd take. I'm not one of these that would jump into every stock. The riskiest stock I am in at the moment is Horizon Aircraft. And again, it was about 3%. It's probably pushing around 2% now of my portfolio. I haven't added in a long time. And at the moment, there's nothing that really is pushing me to add more. I may dip into a little bit trickle in, but at the moment I see opportunities in the likes of Archer and Joby at the moment. I just need to build that. Like, Joby's getting more and more bulletproof. Then we have Dylan says Tesla using FSD with HW4 chips, HW5 mass production 2026. They're using their own custom design chips for FSD, as I just read. That wasn't what I was thinking of. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I would have gave wrong information. I thought, I can't even remember what they call it. It's what Grok runs on. Oh, I really can't remember it. It will come back to me. Go. You know I'm right there with you. Dylan says, with the government shutdown rolling into November, either on the drone or eVTOL side, are we thinking any issue with the EIPP announcement? I don't think so. I think that'll be factored in, won't it? See, I'm not that up on when your government closes over in the US, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask this. Sorry, my guy. Scott Invest says, third bullet point down. What are we referring to there, my guy? I have completely lost track. Yeah, so then, speaking about EHang, EHang had a presentation last day. Now, I'd lie to you if I said I went and followed everything that was going on with EHang, but it is quite interesting with that VT35 coming out. Now, even the EHang investors are not they're not overwhelmed with the VT35. When I look at it, it's a much better aircraft than the EHang 216. It's not, I don't know, like a drone that could just, I don't know, fall out of the sky like a pebble. But at the same time, it kind of disappointed me that they went straight for that two-seater market again. And is that what they're pushing for? Are they pushing for more that like light sport sort of, I don't know. Like how many Uber someone go on like Grok or something and look up the average Uber trip. Do they carry 1 to 2 people? Now, yeah, fair enough, 2 people, because it's going to be fully autonomous. But 1 to 2 people, or do they tend to have carloads? I don't know. It does make sense if it's for personal travel. But just if a family was going anywhere, the VT35 just doesn't really excite me. And again, that fully autonomous sector, when you have Joby now pushing in with Nvidia, does that kind of blow EHang out of the water there? I know EHang doesn't really have to push with the likes of the FAA at the moment, but I did actually see, I think they're aiming to push into the US market by 2032. Now, I can't imagine that being very successful. But look, you never know. Also, guys, what do you think about that cargo industry? China's really winning that whole cargo space at the moment. Some of their drones, fully autonomous, can carry up to 3 tons. Where I think the Midnight and Joby, their payload capacity is about, is it 500 kilos, 600 kilos or so. Even Horizon Aircraft, I think it's 680 or so. I could be wrong there though. That says a lot of cans getting kicked down the road. Kratos just got a good contract. Some are trickling out but we won't see big moves until they're back to work. Vast, are you still good for today, my guy? I think we're doing a eVTOL and drone podcast on spaces. Do let me know. The only thing is, I think we set it for an hour's time. I'm at an airport at the moment. I have to pick up someone, so even if we can push it out by even an hour, that would work for me. Matan, big shout out, my guy. Rich people aren't single, they have families. These personal aircraft are cool, but not useful. Not all rich people aren't single, but yeah, no, I completely get what you mean. I think the majority of the world have families, so yeah, personal eVTOLs are cool, but are they even going into that personal eVTOL market, or are they calling themselves an air taxi? That's what really confused me. Also, guys, do you see that Neo robot? I was actually looking at that today. It's like they're trying to do what Optimus done, but done it so much quicker than Optimus have. Now look, I don't think it can cook in that for you at the moment, but it can do most basic tasks in the house, and they reckon it'll update as years go by. I think they're $20,000 or something like that. So look, if anyone has $20,000 laying about that they just want their own personal assistant, Neo's your place. Randy says, are they using Nvidia compute in the S4 or just the Cessna they tested defense exercise with autonomous flight technology? So I believe it'll be the Nvidia being used going forward, but someone might have to correct me on that. Easy Kilo Math Dylan says 2.2k equals £1. Jesus, if I could work that out quickly while I'm explaining something, that would really help me. But normally when I'm explaining something quick with weights, doing that conversion will kill me. Scott says, tell that to Kobe Bryant. Verse says, I'm still game. We can push it back, slide into the DMs all. Big shot, my guy. That robot is creepy AF. Those little beady eyes on nightmare fuel. Do you know what? Actually, apparently it can filter out as well whether you're talking to it or you're talking to your family. I just think it's weird. Imagine, I was actually thinking about that. Like, imagine having one of those around the house, yeah, and you go to bed at night and you wake up and it's like looking you dead in the eye. Like, nah, I don't know. I don't trust them things, but it is what it is. That's CNC lol. Randy says, sorry, are they deploying the NVIDIA compute in all S4 going forward, or was it just in the Cessna they were used for X-Wing? That's a good question. That is a very good question. I took it as going forward, it will be in all S4s and it will be learning from the pilots. But with that X-Wing partnership, it could just be used in the Cessna. But I don't know. It kind of wouldn't make sense, would it? Scott Vest thinks it's all aircraft. It's a super pilot. Yeah, a super pilot aircraft. Guys, do let me know. How do you feel about Archer's route for autonomy? The only thing is, I watched a interview with Adam Goldstein the last day. Now it is one. It's about 2 weeks old. I was just reviewing it, and when I was looking back, he openly said that their business model is not going to be operating Archer. We knew they were always going to be selling their Midnight, and their 2022 presentation, or is it 21, said they will be running them as an air taxi as well. And at the start, the selling the aircraft would actually make more money than the Archer air taxi business, but then it will flip and the Archer air taxi business will make much more. However, in the interview the last day, I don't know, is it a pivot? He openly said their business model is they will be selling the Midnight. So do let me know if that's the case. We're now looking at two different businesses. We're looking at Archer Aviation, who manufacture and sell, and they're doing what was Horizon Aircraft's edge. We were saying about Horizon Aircraft that they don't have to operate the aircraft, but now it's starting to sound like Archer Aviation aren't necessarily going to be operating the aircraft. They're just going to be selling the aircraft. And different businesses can run that air taxi business. So do let me know, did you see that, or am I taking it up wrong? VACNC says the smart move is to put them all in planes, get that data up. Yeah. Are we talking about put them all in S4s? Because I think the biggest part of the whole thing is going to be that autonomous vertical takeoff and landing. And the whole transition and everything of the sorts. Putting them in the likes of Cessnas is okay, but apart from the actual taking off and landing, I think most aerospace planes have an autonomous autopilot. That's one thing I want to ask you guys too, is could we see for a big while after the FAA certify autonomy, would we have a pilot on board for redundancy in case this system fails until we can prove it out? Or are they just going to go smack bang into autopilot? Because I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how public perception would feel about that. You have people worried about getting in full self-drive cars on their own with no one sitting in the driver's seat. So let alone getting on an aircraft that can just take off itself and away we go. Even if the pilot couldn't do nothing, even if the pilot was not in control of the aircraft and didn't know how to fly the aircraft, even if he was just there, I think it would give me a lot more confidence. Like when you're flying in a commercial jet, you don't know when the pilot's flying the plane, when he's not flying the plane. But at least when he's dead, you know, when he goes toilet or something, you're like, oh my god. You know? Or is it just me? Bag of holding, big shot on my guy. I think flawless autonomy will be proven. Sorry, that's completely disappeared. I think flawless autonomy will be proven before the ability to move a sufficient payload using batteries. You really don't believe in the payload ability of these aircraft, do you, my guy? I don't think it'll be long before it's proven. Bag, just an honest thing. I'm not gonna jump down your throat, or I'm not gonna laugh or anything. Have eVTOLs impressed you in this last 18 months? Compared to when we first started talking, when they weren't really flying, there was no pilot on board, compared to now, have they impressed you compared to where you thought they were? Because, look, it's coming on leaps and bounds compared to what I thought it was. Guys, 60 of you there, please smash the like button. I actually beg you. We don't make money at all from these streams. We don't make money from any of our videos. There's no ads on them. So, guys, if you can do one thing for me, do smash that like button. Whether you're on X, whether you're on YouTube, smash that like button. It's the only thing that can help get us out to more people. Also, do you like these live streams in the middle of the day? Well, it's the middle of the day here. I understand it's probably morning for you over there in the US. I could start doing more live streams during the day, even if we done not a opening bell, but like I know you guys like to watch your opening bell shows with the likes of Emit. But say an hour after the opening bell, would you like a live stream where we could cover everything eVTOL or everything like eVTOL drones as such? Do let me know. Vast CNC says automated data services is the big secret prize here. They are spelled out in BVLOS rules and would be critical for all autonomous drone to passenger. Vast, you need to explain to me about the likes of ONDS and everything on this spaces. I'm trying to get my head around it at the moment, but there's so much big news coming out in this whole eVTOL industry at the moment that I haven't had time to just fully wrap my head around the whole business. So please, during the spaces, guys, if anyone of you wants to learn more about that drone industry, learn a bit more about some of these other companies, do let me know. That says you need a lot of data and telemetry to move that market. That's the only thing I thought as well. If this is Nvidia's, if Joby is Nvidia's only play in that aerospace sector with this, I've forgotten the name for IGX4 chip, there's a lot of learning to do, isn't there? Wouldn't it be better if they already had loads of data? Dylan said, would love to hear more on ONDS when that does come. Yeah, hopefully it could be within the next 2 hours or so. I will make sure to try and marry that up with Vast. Going forward, what I'd like to do is be in my studio, so the Spaces calls I can actually stream directly to YouTube as well. So that way, guys on YouTube can hear Spaces. But then at the same time, the guys on Spaces might not want to be on YouTube. So we need to find a happy medium there. Because I don't want to take away from that whole Spaces experience either. I want people to feel comfortable that they can talk without being recorded. So if it's something they would prefer not to be recorded for YouTube, 100% won't do that. We'll just have a chat together. Dylan says that was a huge aircraft Nvidia had at is it the beginning of GTC Aero? Did anyone catch the name of that plane? I actually did not, my guy. How do you guys feel about the likes of ASTS? Now, look, I'm not going to start talking about ASTS because I actually can't get my head around that company either, but they seem to be doing very well. I'm very close with the likes of Anpan Man that I could bring him on for a stream or so just to explain it to us. Do you know what? I've actually seen one of the guys on X, Chris, I forget what his second name is, put up. When you're looking at stocks, 98% of your stocks should go into a pile of too hard to understand. Because I think some of us invest in so many companies and half these companies we don't understand. I would love a Palantir investor. You have done so well, you Palantir investors. And I think it is just a little bit of jealousy in my half. But if any of you Palantir investors can give me more of a understanding of the company, I'd be happy to hear it, because at the moment, what I'm seeing is they're the vehicle. The likes of Nvidia and the AI manufacturers are a engine. But at the same time, like, all I know is they're able to pull masses of data together and spot errors in the data and be able to streamline your manufacturing processes. And do you know what? It's too much for my head to go over. But if I don't understand a company, I just can't invest in it confidently, because I need to be able to filter out the BS. It's like Archer and Joby. When bad news happens, we all know the difference between bad news in the industry and fluff. The likes of Archer Aviation and the Culper short report. If you didn't understand Archer Aviation and you just swallowed that short report, you would have been well out of Archer Aviation at this stage. That's where I just think you need to have a fundamental understanding of a company. Saga says, hi, I'm a big fan of you. Big shout out. Thank you so much for the support. We're getting so much support lately. We're getting so much. I actually swear down, we must get I wouldn't say 100 emails. That's probably a bit too much. But we'd easily get about 50 emails a day from all you guys shouting us out. So thank you so much. It is what helps us keep going every day. Do you know what? I just have this thing locked in my head. It has to be a daily thing. That's why I done that poll, the live streams versus short videos versus YouTube shorts, and which people prefer. And there's actually quite a big mix. And remember when I done the poll on the live stream last time, everyone said they wanted to do live stream. And I said it's probably getting skewed because we're on a live stream at the moment. So I think it's something like 42% of people prefer short form videos. I actually had a comment on my last live stream saying, who has time to listen to you for an hour? And I was a bit like, no one's forcing you to watch, my guy. I put out earlier, do you want me to go live today? Yes or no? No, not gonna lie. Anyone that votes no, I don't really care if you vote no. You're actually helping me in the algorithm. You vote no, it's actually pushing me out to more people. But I'm more or less looking for the yes. If I don't get a response, I know no one's interested in the live stream. If I get a yes, I'm interested. The only reason I put no there is to push me in the algorithm, because I know idiots like I got will say no. It's like, if you don't want me to go live, just don't respond. I don't care. Saga said, had a question. I just invested and bought 50 Joby and 50 Archer, and I believe in Archer so much more than Joby, as they are moving silently. Ooh. Let me get the next part of that. So the thing is, you can lose all my cash as Joby can kick Archer's butt. Even Tesla with Archer was a marketing stunt. Okay, so Tesla Archer, I think we got a little bit confused. Archer never actually came out and said anything. It was most of us retail investors that did. I wouldn't worry too much about Archer Aviation at the moment. I wouldn't let other companies get in your head. You're part of what the majority of us in this industry were, first of all. You're split between both Archer and Joby, and I actually think that's the best way to be. If your eggs in both baskets, no matter what happens, you're happy. This is not financial advice, by the way. I'm in both Archer and Joby. Look, you have people that are fully concentrated in Joby and fully concentrated in Archer. It feels like the people that are fully concentrated in each concentrate more on the other company and want the other company to do worse than they concentrate on researching their own stock and seeing where it's going. Now, the Tesla and Archer, I would just mop it under the carpet or sweep it under the carpet. Look, if something with Tesla happens, it happens. Stock's going to fly. If it doesn't happen, we move. We never thought a Archer and Tesla partnership would happen until all these rumors started coming out. I still think there could be some material in there. I don't think it's as big as we initially thought. And look, I am not partly to blame. I am a big part to blame in pushing out some of that Tesla information. Now, you've 50 Joby shares, 50 Archer shares. If that was me, this is not financial advice. That was me. That's a nice split. Then, to answer the part of the question, Tesla or Archer moving silently. It's unusual for Archer to move silently. Normally, Archer is the one banging the drums and getting PR. Like this last 2 years, we've been going on about how much PR Archer's been pushing out, and Joby hasn't been giving us enough news. Joby, only within the last 6 months, has actually started putting out PR, but it's because they've moved silently and now they have the ability to do this flight tests, demonstration, showing the public the S4 partnerships with Nvidia. Like, it's all coming together with Joby. Archer still need to go through that phase. So it's not going to surprise me in, say, 12 months' time if Archer go through this whole phase of all these demonstrations, all these PR stunts, all these partnerships coming through. So I wouldn't let Archer moving silently sway you more towards Archer, because any of us guys that are big into Archer, it's unusual for Archer to be like this. It's something different. We haven't seen it before. We don't know, is it good, is it bad? I think it's good, but we don't know the difference. Joby, I feel like the only reason they're pushing out the PR now is because it's tried and trusted. It's getting out there. But I hope that helps a little bit. Saga says Archer can't even show the full takeoff and land until today, the midnight, so scary. My heart says Archer, my head says Joby. I wouldn't worry too much until we get a little bit more information. I think if we listen to all the noise, and I think sometimes we have to cancel out the noise. If we listen to all the noise, Joby investors are going to tell you to invest in Joby. Archer investors are going to tell you to invest in Archer. Anyone that's in the middle is going to say invest in both. So I think if you believe in the industry, this is what I would do. I believe in the industry. These are the two big juggernauts. I'm smacking down on both. The only reason I'm heavier on Archer is because it dipped a lot more, and I see a lot of runway coming through. I think it's sold off massively. But with this Nvidia partnership, I will be buying heavily into Joby again. And yeah, to do with the takeoff and landing. Look, Archer's just... I think we got a bit carried away. We thought Archer and Joby were more or less neck and neck, and now Joby's showing it is that bit further ahead. So I wouldn't put goalposts on Archer at the moment. Joby investors love to tell us that Archer should be able to vertically take off and land with a pilot, even though Joby have only done that within the last 12 months. So there's all this. Dylan says, let's remember too, the robotaxi would get you to the vertiport, but by having robotaxi now auto-take you to SJC kind of takes away the point. The eVTOL is made to fly you to FBO. Yeah, that's what I was trying to hit at. And I don't know if it resonated as well as I initially thought it would. So I think people thought I was putting that out. I don't know, did they watch it until the end of the video? So I need to clarify that there. When I said about the Tesla and Archer and Joby partnering as such, I think many Archer and Joby investors looked at that announcement and thought, oh, look, go into airport, FSD, and then they thought, oh, yeah, they'll bring you to your vertiport and then you'll fly to your gate. But then it's like, why are we making it harder than it needs to be? And we know Elon has always said, delete the unnecessary. So why would the FSD car drive you to the vertiport and you'd spend even more money going from the vertiport to the airport? And why would Tesla invest the money into, like, this is the part that really got me. Why would Tesla invest the money into mapping out the airport and telling you what gate to go to inside your airport if they were partnering with Archer and Joby to be able to fly you to your gate? Because that'd be an unnecessary process. You wouldn't need to be walking around the airport if you go from your vertiport to your gate. So, like, this whole, and FSD going straight to the airport and telling you where you can pick up your FSD car outside the terminal. Well, the vertiport was meant to take out the terminal, so why are we getting the terminal involved? I actually think Tesla are taking all the meat of that pie and leaving the whole vertiport infrastructure out of it. So I wouldn't bank on Tesla roaming to these vertiports and then flying you in, because it kind of takes away from Tesla. Also, another thing, people got very carried away. And if you haven't seen it, you've seen going around X at the moment that that robotaxi had Delta Airlines, Southwest Airlines, and United Airlines. It was whoever put that out, that was purposely done to excite Archer and Joby investors, because they knew Joby was partnered with Delta and they knew Archer was partnered with Southwest and United. But when you actually go into Tesla's actual, like, what they've brought out, you have every airline known to man on it. So it wasn't just an announcement for Archer and Joby's partners. So take that whole vertiport thing out of it. I don't think there's any meat in that whatsoever. I think what's happened there, Tesla are going to pick you up, drop you outside your terminal, tell you what gate to go to, and then when you land, they'll tell you your way out and to your FSD car. That's it. And I don't understand how Tesla are going for, like, is it 25 cents a mile? So why would they go for this cheap and cheerful and then land you at a vertiport that'll cost you like $80 to get from here to that? Like, it's a completely different business. I just don't think they're linked at the moment. No, nothing's stopping you from getting a full self-driving car and going to the vertiport yourself, but you will physically have to pick that journey yourself. If what Tesla's doing is you'll be able to go on your app. I have got a flight at this time with this airline. It'll tell you what gate to go to, FSD, drop you there, tell you where to go, tell you where to pick up and where you go. That's it. Simple. Let's not make it overcomplicated. Verse CNC says, you got to remember the figure factor. There isn't a lot of incentive for Elon to pair with Archer and pump Brett Adcock's bags. True. Saga says, Archer... Oh, yeah, we got through that. Adcock having figure robots by 2030 in Georgia manufacturing facility. Saga says, yes, thanks, man. You're the best. I might pay for the monthly exclusive updates. Might see you soon. Big shout out. Matan says, good point, Vast. Also, Elon won't get into eVTOLs. He's got bigger problems to solve. That's the thing. Will he get into the eVTOL market, or will he just go straight for aerospace and get like an electric jetliner? That's, if he enters aerospace, I think that's what he'll go for. And also, we always think Elon has bigger problems to solve, but at the same time, it's not necessarily always him that's solving them. So, like, if he turned around tomorrow and said, right, let's go into eVTOLs, Elon's not sitting at his desk and designing these eVTOLs himself. Let's get that out ahead. I think we have seen documentaries and stuff like that of Elon sitting on the floor in the likes of SpaceX and that. Elon, fantastic CEO, but at the same time, he can't physically do everything in 24 hours. Anyone that thinks he would sit there and work out how to create an eVTOL himself is completely wild. He could buy Archer and Joby and just say, right, we're doing eVTOLs. There you go. He doesn't necessarily have to change anything. Dylan says it'll be interesting with the security. Like, we say he has bigger fish to fry and stuff like that. This is the same man that was going to run for the next election, and then he's also getting involved in the UK and saying stuff about civil war and all that mad stuff. I don't get involved in politics, but yes, he has bigger problems, but at the same time, he's getting involved in stuff that he really doesn't need to necessarily. Dylan says it'll be interesting with security in the vertiports and FBOs. Will we see FBO at the major airports that would land like an eVTOL but still have passengers and bag scan security? That's the thing. So vertiports, they're saying, are going to be back like the 1980s. This is what scares me. So remember, Brandon was telling us that these eVTOLs is going to go back to the 1980s and they're not going to have as much security as you do in airports. But the thing that scares me is there's a reason we moved past in 1980s. There's a reason there's security now. As soon as you take that away, I don't want to say it, but something's going to happen. And then it's going to be like, well, why didn't you foresee that? Because at the end of the day, these are still aircraft. So I would prefer them to have security, you know? And especially if you're going to an airport, if these have no security or as tight security as the airport, you're going to have to be rescanned at the airport then. So, yeah. There's no way, because I need to be careful what I say here. If someone wanted to do a bad thing, you don't want it to be easier for them. Oh yeah, all I'll have to do is go to a vertiport instead, and then I'll get on the plane that way. Yeah, you get me? That's all I'm going to say. Saga says, yes, you're right, it makes sense. They are giving you subliminal messages or testing secretly so you can pitch to others saying Tesla tested our infrastructure. Think about that. That's actually a really good point. Tesla, why not BYD both have full self-driving? I don't think BYD will take off that mad. Isn't BYD a Chinese company? It just won't roll out in the US. Trust me. We need a crystal ball that Amazon sells. Do you know what? The crystal ball, Elon might be trolling us. Elon trolls us an awful lot. Oh, I love Elon. Oh, I actually bought a few more shares of Tesla. It was the day after their earnings call. I got it right on the dip. I actually thought it was going to drop a lot lower, but I've been caught with Tesla so many times where I'd be expecting a drop. Next thing we fire back, and actually I got the right side of it. But look, it could start firing back down. But I just want to really load up on Tesla lately. You've got me thinking about Amazon now. I know that's not what you're referring to, but yeah, Amazon. We were talking about that drone delivery, and it really got me thinking about that warehouse to warehouse transport. We're all thinking about these eVTOLs delivery right at midnight landing in your estate. That's not how that infrastructure will work. It'd be more or less vertiports outside, like your Amazon warehouses, and you'll drop them in. That way, it actually frees up space on the road. We need to think when full self-driving does roll out, this will be the next 5-10 years, when everyone has it, you're actually going to get so much more congestion on the roads. You have two ways of thinking of it. Some people are thinking, right, if there's full self-drive and you can get these robo taxis and they're going to be 25 cents a mile, etc., you won't necessarily need a car. But that's not how the economy works. What happens is you get you can fill in the blank, buy a car and think, I can make a load of money off this. I'll just charge the same as an Uber, but I don't have to drive my car. So that's how prices go up. Next thing, everyone has a Tesla and they're doing the exact same thing. Next thing, everyone has a Tesla. The only thing that's different, no one's driving the car. But now, you've now opened it up to not only people that have licenses, but people that don't have licenses or used to have licenses, but they no longer need or can have them. Like, look, my grandfather has many friends over here that can't drive no more due to their age. If they have a fully autonomous car that drives itself, they can have a car again. Therefore, more cars on the road. Population growing, more cars on the road. That way, more congestion, takes longer to get to your destinations. Therefore, fly off the traffic. eVTOLs. There we go. Another thing, full self-drive cars. Everyone goes full self-drive. eVTOLs. Everyone goes flying in the sky. What's the common denominator there? We're running off electricity. Price of electricity is going to fly through the roof. We don't sort out sustainable ways of getting electricity. So yes, that's where the likes of, I'm actually starting to think again, the likes of next year energy and that, because no matter what we say, Trump's not big on likes of solar power and all that. Tesla's another way to invest in energy, by the way, but not big on solar power and the likes of the sort. But eventually the world will switch again and it'll be big again. And then a lot of you guys are into like the nuclear energy and that. That's another clean way of doing that. So yeah. Do you know what I actually found out the last day that was wild? This is completely off topic. It was kind of not. It's to do with nuclear power. Do you know them chimneys? That's not smoke coming out of them chimneys. That's just steam. I could not believe that. Because I'm used to over here, like power stations, there's actual like smoke coming out. Not gonna lie, but it's all like fossil fuel being burnt. Dylan says, imagine a day where robotaxis are honking at each other to change lane. Of course, joking. I'm sure there'll be some train link system. That's the thing. Elon, yeah, he solved the road. Well, he's solving the road. He's solving going underground. He solved space flight. Why hasn't he solved the air yet? Think about that. That he will get into that space. I seen a nice podcast. It was when Cathy Wood was on Diary CEO. He's all on about going to Mars as such. But the only way to really build the infrastructure there is either in the ground or fly. What's the point of making roads again? That causes congestion. Like, if we could go back 200 years and we had the technology we had today, there wouldn't be as much roads. It'd either be in the ground or people be flying everywhere. Roads are just unnecessary congestion because it's 2D. Saga says, what if one big accident and the public say, screw that, all this is all Gen Z or beta? So it's the problem with any next generation technology you look at. AI, one massive catastrophe with AI, people would stop using AI. If AI tomorrow turned around and it became self-intelligent and started attacking humans, you watch, AI would all of a sudden slow down. When airplanes first came out, if you just had accident after accident after accident, that's why the world has evolved. So it's the risk you have to take when you're investing in next generation stuff. There's risk with anything, and the higher reward to anything, 9 times out of 10, the higher the risk you're going to have to take. Bitcoin. People are mad about Bitcoin. If it came out tomorrow that Bitcoin, I don't understand Bitcoin enough, but it could be hacked and it could take the whole value of it or something like that. Next thing, everyone's still out of Bitcoin. So yes, one big accident, but that's why we're trying to get all this certification in place. Hopefully that won't happen. Diddle says, oh, and after being in New York City, the noise that you hear on the ground, I would wonder how much an eVTOL decibel might not make it to that ground level with. That's the thing. With some of these cities, how loud they can be. Like, I know when I go and visit Reese in London, and that'd be nowhere near as busy as New York City. Trust me, after listening to what the S4 sounds like, after listening to what the Midnight sounds like, that is going to be the least of your worries. Now, the only problem is when they're necessarily saying that they can, or they foresee the likes of hundreds to thousands of them. That would be a big vibration noise. Doesn't matter how quiet they are. If we had, I don't know, I'm outside an airport here. If I had 10 planes land at the same time, doesn't matter, how quiet it is, I would be able to hear it. Saga says, I can't wait to buy Joby and Archer merchandise. Want a small toy drone and a hat. It would be quite cool. Imagine Archer merch, Joby merch. I've never really thought about it. I'm not gonna lie, but no, I really like your thinking, guys. You haven't let me know. Do jump into the comments. Let me know. Would you like this to be done on the daily? Would you like this to be done every few days? No, I'm not gonna commit myself like I done with the Rocket Lab streams where I went like 7 days straight for like 9 months or so. Why don't we stick to the days the market's open? We could do either, I don't know, 1 hour, an hour and a half after market opens. Oh, I don't want to push it out too late because I'm trying to fit this around my working day too. So like I've been on the farm all day. I actually bought more cattle today. Not that any of you wanted to hear that, but yeah, bought more cattle today. Yes, been on the farm. I have someone to pick up at 4 p.m. So 15 minutes. And you know what? It's a nice way to fill the day at lunchtime. Also, 84 of you here. Can't believe that's what it is in the middle of the day. That is wild. Especially when I don't announce I'm coming on till about like an hour before. So big shout out to you. Do one thing for me. We don't earn no money on this anymore. We have no ads. But one thing I do ask you to do is smash that like button. We want to grow this space. Do you know what it is? I just like speaking to people. You guys help me learn. I know that's such a selfish way. I've actually been reading The Laws of Power, and everyone, no one remembers what you do for them, and everyone always has a selfish thing to it. So you come to this because you want to hear information, or you want to be entertained, etc. The reason I do this is because you guys give me a lot more information. You guys help me test my thesis on both Archer and Joby. Like earlier, I was wrong with. I still can't remember what Tesla's AI I thought it was, but and Dylan corrected me. So that's exactly why I do it. Saga says, do it every few days or spend your days you're not live getting more views, but throw out short, interesting clips that we love to watch. Thank you so much for that. Do you know what? I have 11 short clips dropping today. I think 4 of them came out earlier. Yeah, I have 11 dropping today. I'm trying to still push that one short video a day because I know lots of people love them short videos. Gonna get hate on this live stream after I drop it from the guys saying no one has nowhere to watch. But look, nearly 100 of you do. Guys, smash that subscribe button if you haven't. We're going covering Archer and Joby's earnings next week. Actually, can't wait for that. We'll have Reese on with us. Dylan, if you're around, do you want to jump on the? Well, I know you're going to be there for the Archer one. Do you want to jump on the Joby one as well? That'd be quite cool. We're going to cover ONDS earnings as well. Still need to work out what date that is. Myself and Vast will work out what date that is. Saka says, but why are you so in Joby and Archer? Like, how much stocks do you have? Do you know what? I never really disclosed that. If you go back to my early videos, you'll probably find it somewhere where I've disclosed that. The reason I don't, you can actually speak to Matt Money on that. I was speaking to Matt, and someone found Matt's house and vandalized his house, and then he's had many people trying to hack his account. So I don't want to put that out there. That's why I don't put my second name out there. I just don't. If you drop to me on X, I will be able to show you. But yeah, no, that's about it. Guys, smash that subscribe button, please. We're nearly at 5,000. Also, X, we're nearly at 1,000 followers. Do jump across to X. The guys on X, what's up with X? You guys won't like the stream. You'll stay in the stream for the whole stream. You won't like the stream. Please like the stream. Please repost the stream. It's the only way we're going to get more people in there. Only way we're going to get more investors in there. Why am I in Archer and Joby? So, quick rundown. Myself, Reese, one of the other hustle brothers. Passionate about stock market. When you get two of us on together, look, it's been a while since myself and Reese have been on a stream together. They were a little bit different. Them streams, there's a lot more banter where like we'd be talking about random things, but we might start them up again. But myself and Reese heavily invested in the likes of Rocket Lab. We really enjoyed what the Rocket Lab Weekly boys were doing. Guys, actually, jump across to Rocket Lab Weekly. I was on Rocket Lab Weekly one stage when I was pushing out Rocket Lab content. But yeah, big heroes of us. Guys, I've interviewed all 4 of them. You can check them out on the channel as well. But really enjoyed what they do. We then started thinking, right, Rocket Lab's flying up. Like my average back then on Rocket Lab was like 439 or something like that. Average now is through the roof. It's probably 784 or something like that. But yeah, we're looking at the next big thing because Rocket Lab has more or less set its way. It's on the up. I don't really. I've said it before. When my stocks are performing, I don't look at them. So Rocket Lab's performing. I don't really look at them. I actually have a lot more passion about Archer and Joby now because I need to remain razor focused. I need to be in touch with the industry. We then started building this whole Archer and Joby because it felt like, honestly, at the start, it's a little bit different now because like you can see this you can see this whole concept coming to fruition. You can see Archer and Joby flying. But when me and Reese first started, it was more or less a concept. So it felt like we'd ring each other every day and we'd be talking about it. And then we thought, are we the only two weirdos that actually invest in this? And we're like, do you know what? We may as well put it up on YouTube. And Dylan very quickly found us. We've created a great friendship with Dylan there. And yeah, it's just grown from there. Genuinely, we just want to show that everyday working people can make it in the stock market. And that's one of the reasons why we've turned off all the ads now, because we're like, why try and make money from people that are actually working and trying to do better for themselves? Why not make that information free? And if we make that information free and make it enjoyable, we get more working people in with us, and that way we can build a little army and we'll all have like this hive mind where we'll be able to share different nuggets from here, there and everywhere, where I might not know one thing, you might know another, and if you feel comfortable enough to jump into the comments, we can correct each other, and look, we're all better at the end of the day. We all make money, so that's the way we do it. Dylan, through the roof, 784. I should have been listening to you when you were screaming about lab. Do you know what? For so long, wasn't I banging on the door about lab? But no. It's like I says, Dumbro, have a good rest. Smoke a nice fat joint. I don't touch that stuff, trust me. I'll see you soon, and nice to meet you in real life. I've seen most of your videos, feels weird. Bye and thanks. No, big shout out. Yeah, we will meet up in person. I want to meet up with many of you in person. We could have a big meet up once Archer and Joby go through the roof. We could all take S4 or midnight rides, go somewhere, have a big party, have a chat. I think it'd be great. Dylan says, I was thinking I need to book a section at the club live in Miami for the LA 2028 Olympics and go watch the games for a day off there. Oh my God, Dylan, we need to meet up for that. We can just stream it. That'd be so mad. Dylan, let's link for that. That'd be sick. Right, guys, I need to run. Thank you so much. There's about, 81 of you in here. Thank you so much. Smash the like on the way out. Hit the subscribe. And again, I will probably see you day or two, but no, I'll roll out a video later. You know me. All right, guys. Until later.